So basically, we'll have a presentation of 4 students. Now I'll be speaking in English because we are recording this. We might show this video to some of our collaborators or colleagues who will be interested in the thesis, and also who might be interested to be co-advisors or that kind of collaboration. So I think we can go with this order with Melat, and then we will go to Sirak and Kibrom and Atse. So what we have is we have 15 minutes of presentation, and then we'll go through 5 minutes for questions and discussions. Before we proceed, do you have any questions or any suggestions?
Do you have the document for the presentation, or do we share it from here?
Do you have slide, or you want to present from the slide?
I have for mine, if you want to see the slide, maybe.
Yes, you can please share your slide. I will stop sharing. So please introduce yourself before beginning, because not everyone knows.
Okay. Hello, my name is Melat. I come from Melat University. I'm under the structure. So may I continue the proposal presentation, or may I share first?
Yeah, you can share and continue. Okay.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can see presentation page.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I will be discussing about my proposal. It's entitled Image-Based Structural Assessment of Masonry Buildings, specifically the case of Yohannes Palace, which is found in Agulae, Tigray. So let's proceed to the main part. Why do we select the Yohannes Palace in the first place? It's not in a good condition, as it's a significant monument for Tigray. Due to different factors, it is in a bad state due to environmental factors, aging, and other factors. So how do we try to preserve this? So we try to come up with a new method of structural assessment. That's what this proposal responds. So this new method is needed because the old or the traditional methods that we used to do for the structural assessment they were time consuming, they were not detailed scope-wise, they were not detailed, plus they were invasive. They used to hurt the heritage or the monument. So our new method that we're proposing is image-based, that we use photogrammetry incorporating with the finite element analysis method. For the photogrammetry part, we'll be using 3D software, whereas the finite element analysis method, we will be using Abacus software. So for the Zephyr software, we will need high resolution image in order to process the 3D model. So we have to follow certain steps. The first step will be collecting data. When we say collecting data, we need high resolution images. They could be ground photographs or aerial photograph. It could be using normal cameras or drones and others. And the next step will be to process this image into 3D model that will use the 3D software. And then the next part will be the structural analysis part. For this part, we'll be using the Abacus. The abacus will take the 3D model that's processed with the Zephyr software, and then it will try to process it for the structural defects. It could be cracks or any other structural defects. It will evaluate the results. We will use different methods. I will not go into detail about the software that we will discuss in the main part. And the next part will be after seeing all this, after seeing the results, we will be able to recommend for solutions. So we expect to achieve different results from the software analysis. The first thing will be a digital 3D model is gained from the Zephyr software, and the next one will be a better and a nice method for the preservation of the monument or heritage. And then the next part will be we will be able to identify any structural defects or any other weaknesses. And at last, we will be able to recommend useful recommendations for the structural weakness that we saw. So why we want this is this method is not only for this purpose, but it will be an open through for the other methods, not only for specifically for the Atse Yohannes Palace, but also for next time, some other people can use this method in order to preserve other heritage. So it will have a great role in the conservation of heritage. This is all I have for today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melat. Does anyone has some question or comment? Okay, I have one question until then. Do you see yourself collaborating with other professionals within the team, or do you have any idea on that?
I will be glad to collaborate with the other teams.
Yeah, I like in what aspects, with what professionals, and what kind of collaboration do you expect, like from what type of professionals?
Okay, for example, architects, could be architects or photographers that can help me with the data collection. As I mentioned earlier, we need high resolution images, drone or cameras. This way, I would appreciate it if I can have.
Okay. I'll go to Gebresilasie, who has raised hand.
May I jump in, Alula?
Yes, Gebresilasie raised his hand, but if necessary, you can.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, thank you, Alula. My question is towards the state problem assessment. I know Yohannes Palace in Agulae is not in a good condition, but to assess image-based structure analysis, how much is sure this is structurally dangerous? Is it in danger in structurally or it's masonry? So how much how much is strong? The problem is the problem of the title. So that's my question.
Did you get the question? Did you hear it well?
Yes, I heard you.
Yeah, okay.
I cannot say it is to this extent because we haven't collected any data until now. I cannot say the severity of the damage. I cannot put it into labels because we haven't done any data collection and others.
So my suggestion is to change the site to the ruin of Dejat Gebresilasie in Agulae. It's better to assess because it's a ruin.
Okay, I'll take that. And I will discuss it.
Melat, do you have a prior experience of visiting the sites? Or you haven't seen the
No.
sites?
No.
Okay, yeah, it's good. It will be good also to see the pictures of the sites, and then you will take an impression of the structural condition of the sites, and then you will see what kind of intervention it might be needed from you, or what kind of analysis. Maybe Birhane, would you like to go there and speak?
Yes, let me clarify. The whole point of this research is to create a framework or workflow of image-based structural assessment. We all know when it's a vision-based system, it's kind of superficial. We may not have the details of the damage that in non-destructive testing techniques. Most of the time, you prefer to focus on the superficial damage than the details, because we don't need to make further destructive tests like hammer test or some other systems to collect data. So I would maybe Melat is not well aware of everything, as she have limited experience on it. But in any way, we have chosen the site of Yohannes Palace in Agulae because it's ongoing. We have seen some ongoing damage on the site, which are supposed to be measured on site, as well with laser photogrammetric or laser scanner techniques as well. So once we have the 3D of those sites, we will have the privilege to map the damage, whether it's a crack, efflorescence, or any kind of damage on the structure, using some algorithms, which we call them bundle adjustment. Alula, maybe you are very aware of it in Agisoft or in other 3D photogrammetric softwares. So mapping those damage will have a privilege on the model, and those condition-aware calibrated models will be imported into structural softwares. And with the help of finite element method, we will have we will put all the loads expected on the structure, whether feature loads like earthquake or any existing load of the structure itself, like self-weight. So we're not going to analyze a new structure. It's going to be an existing structure with all its damage. So we will try to come up with propagation of damage in the future. If we have a crack, we know we will have the information of the at least the width of the crack from the image data. Then that will be exactly mapped into our FM software. So a cracked structure subjected to different loads, to even different earthquake loads that may happen in the future, we will have an indication of the response of that damaged structure into those future loads. So with that, we'll develop fragility curves. Future damage will be predicted probabilistically, in fact. So yeah, that's the point of it. The case of Dejat or Gebresilasie, it's not. I wouldn't say it's a damage. It's a completely, I would say, structural speaking, it's a collapsed system. So it's a collapsed structure. We don't talk about damage in Dejat or Gebresilasie's residence. Speaking about that residence, is going to be speaking about
And you say
reconstruction.
Gebresilasie for the record, sorry.
Well, Gebresilasie or Gebresilasie, the foreman, the guy who
Yes,
was the foreman of
Gebresilasie.
Yohannes.
Yes,
Gebresilasie. So that building is not it's not I would say currently it's structurally collapsed structure. So for that, it's going to be a rework or a reconstruction. So there is no way we do simulation on that collapsed structure. But for the case of the palace of Dejat Kasai, I think we have seen some damage already, and we expect there will be propagation of this damage in the future. So simulating that and trying to understand how those damage may propagate will be a privilege, I guess. So yeah, I know vision-based system is most of the time superficial, but with the help of on-site measurements, especially on the width and depth of crack, and we may have also, we may develop computer vision systems with AI to identify the type of damage, whether it's a crack, corrosion, efflorescence, spoiling, all these things. We have some computer vision systems that are capable of automatically detecting the type of damage over the surface of those structures. So those types of damage can be simply mapped into the photogrammetrically reconstructed 3D, and then that will be automatically imported into finite element software. So we will have a condition-aware, calibrated model, and loaded with different types of loads. And in that case, run the simulation, try to understand the propagation of the damage, and then future possible behavior of the structure. So knowing those future responses will help us to help or to support the decision-making people, maybe like the Tigray Tourism Bureau will have the advantage to decide whether to do some repair works or whether to reconstruct part of the structure or install some make some interventions on retrofitting. So that will be based on the output of this research suggested by Melat. So this is the point.
Okay.
Thank
Okay,
you.
great. Yeah, I have just a brief question. You can answer with yes or no. Do you see a ruin stabilization an option with regards to the Gebresilasie's residence? It's in ruin state, but
There is a possibility. So for us, what because we had already had a visit last time to the residence, and we have seen how the structure had been constructed. So I came to understand at least that there is a possibility to put some structural elements, be it concrete or steel, within the system of the masonry. So I have seen the masonry have big thickness, nearly 6 centimeters. So within that masonry, we can install some frame system, which will be invisible in terms of architectural context of the residence, because it's supposedly, basically, authentically, it is constructed with masonry only, but with the state or with the condition the structure currently encountered, maybe it will be difficult to rebuild it to only with masonry system, because there has been also some wood structure, and there is a possibility. There is a possibility that we can reconstruct this. It's possible. At least the bottom of the structure is still stable. So building on top of it will need some analysis, some tests, even laboratory tests on the mortar and on the stone itself, and then it will give us the current or the residual compressive strength of the stone or the mortar. In the meantime, understanding those from the laboratory, the material behavior from the laboratory results will help us to to come up with the solution, both in terms of structural integrity and material quality. And with that, I think, yeah, we can
Okay.
rebuild it.
Okay, good. Salam, do you have?
Yeah, my question would be, I was thinking how it could be possible to validate the FE models, again at the real world performance, but as Birhane explained it, since it's a heritage site, it wouldn't be good to disturb it. But my question is there any less disturbing tests that could be done? I mean, to incorporate the material parameters and to put the boundary conditions for the FE models.
This is
May
towards
I
Melat,
reflect?
I think.
Melat or
Melat.
Birhane, I think.
Go ahead with it. Go ahead with it, Melat.
Let me continue. For the validation part, we will use different with existing data. It could be with ground truth verifications and others. We will also use different expertise evaluations. We can validate it with different literatures, others, or sensitivity analysis and others. We can use this for the validation part. For the, what was the other question? Sorry.
I mean, if there are any real world tests that we can use, which are less
Destructive.
destructive to the existing structure.
Yes, that's why we're proposing this framework. I think it's image-based structural assessment for less destructive for the heritage site.
Yeah, Melat, yeah, I think you didn't get the question. The point is, you need some parameters to put into your finite element software, especially with material behavior and some other boundary conditions as well. So we don't have any information about the behavior of the stone or the behavior of the masonry in the site. So it is evident that we need to bring some samples from around the site or from the site itself, samples of stones and samples of the mortar itself. And we have to make tests to determine the material, the strength of the material. So, because, for example, if you want to put, for instance, the compressive strength of the stone and even the modulus of elasticity of the stone, how are you going to put those parameters? Because those parameters should be at least nearly, well, we may not be perfect, but they must be nearly to the actual or to the realistic value of the stone on site. So she's asking you about how you're going to make those tests with limited or with restricted amount of destruction to the structure. So that's how you need to respond. And the other question is, how are you going to do validation? How is it possible to make validation for such finite element models? So are we going to do validation for other similar structures from which are experimentally tested, maybe from different research centers like the JICA or GRC or somewhere else? What's the plan for validation?
I was planning to compare it with the existing data and also with some truth verifications. And also we can use some expert evaluations to validate the models.
Yeah, I think, shall we close in interest of time? And also the discussions are getting more technical, so maybe.
But Ali, on this regard,
Melat,
I have
yes.
we need your I mean we need the support from the architectural team So it is
Yes.
possible to import the 3D models into finite element software. We strictly need architectural details of those models as well. So the architecture, the team from architecture or focusing on the architectural component of the project should start to develop CAD files of the models of
Yes.
at least the selected site. For example, for us, Agulae Palace is important, so we need architectural plans of Agulae Palace. Well, I can be of help. We had a similar digitization with Samhan previously, so we need such kind of CAD files with the details of every information, thickness of the wall, thickness of the window, doors, lengths, widths. All those should be mapped properly on CAD files. And if in case we face challenge on importing the 3D model into finite element software, we can start developing it ourselves with the CAD files. So I strongly suggest the architectural team start to develop the plans and elevations and 3D of those selected structures. Thank you. And
Yes.
we need
Okay.
also access for Agisoft and
Yes.
access for Agisoft. And we need also one equivalent frame meter software called 3Muri for our research. I don't know how, because we are requesting them to provide us academic license, but they didn't respond to us yet. Regarding Abacus, there will be access through the academic, or
What we
maybe we
can do
have to
is
use.
what we do usually is we have to ask our collaborators for example, Salam might have access to Tokyo University Institute of
Yes.
Tokyo Institute of Technology, and also Tsukuba University. They have also in-house software and others. Agisoft also will
Yes.
try to get a license. So, and also on the
Good.
architecture part, the whole idea of this team is to create these cross-boundary issues and then collaborate on this. So based on specific task, we will rearrange teams to tackle specific task. For example, architectural documentation can go out on as a
Thank you.
specific
Thank you.
task. Yeah. That can be
Thank
done
you,
also
Adi.
with another student, MSc student also can be done with. So that's the framework, but
Okay.
it's good that the other team members also are listening to what you need, and then they have an idea of what they can contribute and how they can collaborate with people who are doing the structural engineering part of the research. Thank you, Melat. I hope you, if you have any final word, but I want to close this with you. We will, of course, the whole team have to give their own evaluation, and then we will let you know if about the outcome of this. But we are very happy that you came here and presented your research proposal. Thank you. So next in line, we will go to
Alula, just 1 minute.
Sorry, you raised your
If I
hand,
get a
but I thought
chance.
it was from the last one. Yes, please. Shorter than 1 minute, we prefer.
Okay. So my question is not specific, but as if you remember the first day initiative workshop, I present what kind of heritage research will be done. So if you are working on a heritage research, a heritage building can be conducted a research if it is in a good condition. But we know that Agulae as Yohannes Palace it is in a good condition. So what if it's in a bad condition, if it's in ordinary condition, or if it's in a ruin, we can conduct heritage research unless our research could be documentation only. For a heritage building, what kind of research can we do is just only documentation. So, but this is structure analysis image-based structural assessment of Atse Palace. So you can see my article on Aksum, structural assessment of historical buildings. So structural assessment in historical buildings is quite different from structural engineering perspective. So first we should know that the current condition of the building, it's in a good condition. What we can get, I know the palace, and I've used many times, there is no crack in its wall, which is bad crack. Structural crack is not visible, and it's sailing. Everything is in a good condition. So what you can do is this. So the problem statement is not strong. My question is, it's not a strong research. Thank you.
Okay, we will take that one and we will further discuss it, I think. So we took extra 10 or over minutes than we hoped. So next, I hope you noted Birhane, and also Melat, you noted his point. And
Let's finish the other presentations, and
yeah.
I will explain what is the point of this research to Gebresilasie in detail.
Yes, good. After we leave students, we will stay together. So we will. Next, we will go to Sirak. Is Sirak here? Yes. And he will present his proposal on adaptive reuse on heritage building of Dejat, Gebresilasie in Agulae. And
hello,
you can share. Yes.
is it audible?
Yes. Do you have a PowerPoint to share?
Yeah.
Okay, please go ahead.
Hello.
Okay, yes.
Hello.
We
Is
can
it
hear you.
visible?
Yes. Please continue.
Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm very grateful to be part of this initiative, and my thesis proposal is about adaptive reuse of the heritage building in case of the Dejat Gebresilasie residence. And I will have a small points about the thesis proposal and the strategies to deal with the problems. The first, this is a building of the Dejat Gebresilasie residence. For introduction, the Tigray HeritageScape Restoration Initiative, the vernacular architecture in Tigray are in very states of despair, with some structures facing imminent collapse. Threats to this site include erosion, lack of maintenance, modern development pressures, environmental factors such as weathering and exacerbated by the environmental exposure and human activities, including illicit excavations and inappropriate renovations. And for the Agulae site, the preservation are essential to safeguard Agulae's cultural heritage, ensuring that the future generation can appreciate the rich tapestry of the Ethiopian heritage legacy. Agulae remains a vital link to Ethiopia's stored past through ongoing research and preservation initiative. This is from the initiative of the Tigray HeritageScapes restoration program. And for the introduction, I will go with the adaptive reuse, with the meaning and understandings of adaptive reuse. Adaptive reuse is defined as an aesthetic process that adapts buildings for new uses while retaining their historical features. Using an adaptive reuse model can prolong building's life from cradle to grave by retaining all or most of the building system, including the structure, the shell, and even the interior materials. And adaptive reuse involves a modification to the building that goes beyond mere maintenance, aiming to the change its capacity, its function, and its performance. And this process allowed for the building to be adapted for compatible use while preserving its cultural heritage. And the last will be adaptive reuse can be shaped social attitudes toward the past and the future. It plays a role in the how and sense of place are preserved and fostering a participatory experience for the users in present. As I said before, adaptive reuse thematic area will be connecting the architectural of contemporary architecture, the need of the present with the conservation of the heritage, and it will imagine alternative features with the conceptual framework like creating a sense of place, collective memory, and strategies for the upcoming program, like translation of the building, like reprogramming of the building for the functions. And when you go to the objectives, the primary goal of the Tigray HeritageScapes will be the comprehensive damage assessment and develop scientifically grounded conservation plans. And efforts aims to preserve cultural assets, fostering community engagement, and promote sustainable development. Like the main goal of the objective will be to preserve and restore by making decisions for the for the future generation by assessing the current damage and giving the solution for the for the current ruined residence. This is the building which is almost ruined and neglected from the society around there. And the project aim will be it will assess the detailed damage assessment and formulating restoration strategies. And the second will be to bridge the critical junction between the initial assessments, practical efforts, and ensuring the innovations are informed by sense of understanding of the site cultural significance and community aspirations. And most of the buildings provide physical links to the progression of culture and evidence to the past. Built heritage conservation through adaptive reuse could therefore be used to promote sustainable and historical and cultural development of urban areas. And thank you.
Okay, thanks so much. Sirak, what's your background? Because you didn't send us
Architecture
CV in the
department.
Okay. So as of me, it's not clear what you want to do. Would you what kind of research activities will you plan to do, and what do you want to achieve?
I want to achieve to integrate the society with the current neglected and abandoned building because it's almost deserted, and I want to reprogram the building to the current use of the society. Like present times, it doesn't have any function, so I want to give it like a purpose, a new purpose for the building by interpreting like architectural reuse methods, like I said before, like imitations and translations of the building into another functioned program, like resorts or school, like something like that. This was just the conceptual framework I just started.
Yes. Do you have a chance to visit the site, or you haven't seen it?
I haven't
Okay,
go
thanks.
to the site yet.
So you mentioned the site is in a completely ruined state, and I mean, what kind of scientific interventions will you do? It's like, of course, we know what adaptive reuse is. You want to make it into another function, or but from a scientific perspective, what activities do you plan to do from professional and scientific activities?
Okay, for the scientific part, I would like to assess the structural problem with the building, meaning it's almost destroyed building. Its roof is almost completely destroyed, and I want to integrate the design and technology. Design and technology is actually my master's program, and I want to integrate the technological modern uh, facilities like structural uh, things to add to integrate with the current stone structure.
Anyone has questions? Or thank you for the reply, Sirak.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone has okay, yes, go ahead. G-Cross.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, the presentation is not a proposal. Just we have discussed that is just concept note or abstract of the research. So since he's a strong in artificial design technology and the site is ruined, so it needs innovative technology to adopt or to adapt for other purpose. So for the contemporary purpose. So the goal of the research must be restoring the ruin by innovative method or innovationally. So this could be just he could be on the scope of the graduate profile of Masters in Artificial Design Technology. So as a concept note or an abstract, for me it's good, but it needs detailed work. For example, the goal or the objective of the research. He just Sirak puts the objectives of the Tigray HeritageScape Restoration Initiative, but your objective should be specific to the Dejat Gebresilasie, and you should visit it, and you have to sense what the ruin looks like and the landscape of and the ruin and how to integrate with society. You should know that, but as concept, not for me. He can go ahead as a concept because the palace is abandoned and neglected, and it needs innovation method to for the contemporary purpose. So Allah, you may not be informed that you will be, or you are an advisor of Sirak, and I am co-advisor because the bureaucracy of Makala University. I am the co-advisor and you are the advisor. So you should give a time to see and shape the proposal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for the news. And I'm curious if Solomon, if you have something to say on this? If Solomon is, and of course Birhane. And then after that, Binyam can go shortly.
Okay, I think it's a good proposal. I am being. Hello, I'm there.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. He's in the architectural design and technology program, and he's expected actually to focus on the courses he already learned. And concerning this proposal, of course, it's going to be a technological approach. His touches will be on technology. And as we have seen, the structure is almost half distracted. The existing one seems somehow kind of missing its purpose. So looking at the structure, it has kind of wider area covering. So it has this potential to be used for different purposes. But I think in Sirak's proposal, the missing one is this one. What is his work going to be? When he just answered the question right now, he was trying to clarify it more. But in this PowerPoint, it was missing. I think he has to correct it. I mean the proposal. Then if he come up with a strong idea, I think we should accept this proposal. It is going to be good, because looking at those sites, the missing one is they are there. They can be used as good input for the society, but now they are kind of problem for the society because they have this disrupted image. They have no use. They are kind of a place to dispose unnecessary things like wastes, blah blah. So if these structures are being carried, if they have this reuse adaptation, they can be more of useful to the society. So from my side, it is a good proposal. We should go with it. This is what I can say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Salim. Birhane, can you continue? And then he can also.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your presentation, Sirak. It's interesting to work on this project specifically. I do have some concern actually. So, with regard to the intervention, are you talking about conservation or refurbishment or restoration or repair or whatever? What is the level of intervention you are planning to work on? Because well, when we say adaptivity, it could be, I would say, it should be aligned with the current use around or current function around the site. So, what is the scale of intervention? We need clarity on this. Well, it's a site of interest for all of us to put some intervention, whether architecturally or structurally. We will be a part, of course. But are you planning, even after maybe design it with an adaptive procedure, are you planning it to be reused as a residence or to be visited as a touristic site or whatever? Because the site does have those structures, and as well we have some open spaces within the compound. There is, I think, there is already existing existing defined space within the compound. So try to be clear on this. And the other one, what do you mean by detailed damage assessment? Can you clarify this? Because I would say, I think the damage shouldn't be an interest for you. that if you want to do detailed damage assessment, what do you mean by that? And the other thing, should we use innovative approach to rebuild or to reconstruct this structure, or should we prefer more historic values and making anthropological studies, even historical, even orally collected data from maybe senior citizens, I don't know, around the site. So I would say the historic and anthropological values are more important to make it more adaptive. So can you reflect on these 3 points I have? Thank you.
Okay, maybe Binyam, you can go, and then he can Sirak, he can answer all of them together. This will, yeah.
Okay.
But please take note because you have any questions. Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to make it more brief and short. So I think my question, more or less, Birhane has already raised it. So to make it a bit more generalized, so my question would be, is your research more or less lenient on to study or to analyze? Because you've been talking about damage assessment, doing more or less it's an analysis part for me, or is it, as the title itself indicates, more or less in proposing a way of intervention or way of preserving? Because if we can clarify on that, maybe we can narrow it down to a specific theme like Melat has. It is more or less, if we, it's how Melat's proposal, it's more or less focused on a structural based, more or less, more specifically on the masonry. So for that, I think in your case also, we need to make it more or less a bit detailed and a bit more specific than it's already on the title. For me, it's a bit general and unclear to whether what you are planning to study or do as the thesis. But in a technical and detailed way, I think Birhane has already raised my question. So, but thank you again for the presentation.
Okay, Sirak.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. As I said before, I want to do the work on the reuse for the adaptive part, because I want to use the building for another purpose, like another function. When I mean a detailed assessment, I mean like detailed about the structural integrity of the building, meaning like the building is almost it's almost deteriorating. It's almost deteriorating and abandoned, and I want to focus on the reuse part, because when I said reuse, I want to do the thesis about the community of the surrounding Agulae society, and I want them to be integrated and entangled with the structure for creating the sense of place and creating a community-based research thesis for the reused. When I say adaptive reuse, I'm saying how much intervention will be accomplished. I think it will be like 70 to 80% will be almost rebuilt, almost to be renovated with the renovative and innovative ideas, like creating for the society like a recreational place, like it could be a museum. I have not decided with the final product of the building because I just started the project, but I want the building to be the main attraction of the site, along with the Yohannes palace. And I think I answered the questions.
Yeah, I think yeah, you still have more things to do with detailing your proposal, and know what you do, and also to see how you can collaborate with the other team members that you can put in your proposal. Just for example, how you can work with the structural engineers, and also what kind of in the previous presentation you heard that although we have a 3D of or a tour of the sites, but this site doesn't give us, for example, wall section. It doesn't give us wall section, or it doesn't give us roof section or track details. So these kind of things you might put that can be done in collaboration with other professionals. So it will be good to go in detail with the project website and look what kind of data there are, and also please send me your send to me or to Binyam your CV and also the refined proposal before we make evaluation, because we need this. We need this for the evaluation as well. Okay, good. I think it will be good. We move to the next presenter. Is Kibrom Melat. He will his proposal title is assessment on practical and challenge of heritage conservation, the case of Yohannes Palace in Agulae town.
Can I continue?
Yes, do you
Yes,
to share?
yeah. Okay. Is it reachable? I think the document is shared.
Yes, please make it full screen.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. First, I will like to introduce myself. I am Kibrom Melat. By now, I am attending my master's in Melat University, specialization of urban planning and development. My research is basically focused on, as previous presenters introduced, it is an assessment on practice and challenges of heritage conservation, the case of Emperor Yohannes Palace. When you see the introduction part, the tourism is the world's largest and fast-growing industry. Scholars say it is a smokeless industry. And in the tourism industry, one of the best and core elements is cultural and heritage. that is heritage is the raw materials or the basic elements for the tourism industry. The tradition of erecting monuments has an age-old history in Tigray region. Let's jump to my statement of the problem, that is the visible problems on the site, basically on Emperor Yohannes Palace found in Agulae. The site has different gaps, although it is physically in a good condition, but to keep its originality, it needs many interventions. When you summarize the gaps already visible on the site, it does not receive adequate attention from local authorities and the community at large. If not well attention or well collaboration, the communities or the government and non-government organizations will be collapsed after a time. So it needs the site have a gap of from the local authority and the community. It lacks proper maintenance and attractiveness. It seems even though it physically exists the structure, but there are decays or due to or weathering, like rainy or other external forces, it loses its attractiveness and lacks coordination among stakeholders to keep its originalities. The main gaps on the site. When you see the objective of this study to analyze the practice and challenges of urban conservation on Imperial Yohannes Palace in case of Agulae town, we have specific objectives through through my study to assess the conservation practice of the existing palace in Agulae town. The specific objective of this study is assess the conservation practice of the existing palace. To observe the awareness level of the residents in case of the Emperor Yohannes Palace, and the third my specific objective is to identify the challenges regarding the process of conserving the palace in the state. What are the challenges existing so as to preserve or conserve the site is my third specific objective. We have research questions that is aligned with the specific objective. It's significant is it will provide an overview of the current status of the historic palace. It will identify the basic challenges that can be constrained to conserve the historic palace. This study is also important in realizing possible recommendations so as to attain its originality. This study will help responsible authorities to review the conservation strategies regarding the heritage. The overview based on using this research as input, responsible governmental organizations have or get chance to revise their strategies or regarding this heritage. We have scopes. This study will assess the practice of heritage conservation, and this study will deal with the basic challenges that happened on conservation practice of the historic site and the remedial measures that should be taken to overcome the main problems in the study town. And I have also a special scopes. The scope of the study is mainly confined to the Imperial Yohannes Palace that is found in Agulae. And this temporal scope is the data that will be easily generalized. To generalize the fact is the recorded data from different sectors like the Horticulture and Tourism Office, Bureau of Culture and Tourism Office of Tigray, and elders and religious leaders of the town. Temporally, this research is going to be completed within, since it is an academic, it needs 1 semester academic period. This limitation of the study will be we will have it lacks generally it lacks previous studies regarding this heritage conservation, and it may lack in adequate financial funds. It needs detailed data from the communities as well as from the governmental organizations. So to do so, this will have lack of financial, lack of organized and reliable secondary source of data in the town due to the absence of proper documentation may be another limitation. There was no prior study regarding the heritage conservation. We have no prior study. So the study will force it to rely more on primary data. I said we'll have a lack of more well-organized secondary document. So to pop up this study, we'll focus on primary data gathering using questionnaires, interview, and field observation is the coping mechanisms. And I try to cover different literatures that are titled on this to strengthen or to have a knowledge regarding this research. Let me proceed to research methodology when we describe the site. Agulae is a town located in eastern zone of Tigray, region in Warada, Srawan Barta. By now, the new Warada arrangement of Tigray. Agulae is administratively located in Srawan Barta. It lies about 30 kilometers northeast of Melat. It has a latitude of this number with an elevation of 190 meters above the level, just like the general description of the site. When you see the research design and the approaches, my research design is in order to assess deeply about the practice and challenges of the heritage conservation. The researcher used descriptive data type, and it will use questionnaires, semi-structured interview, observations, and recorded documents. This research basically relies on observation, reaching on conclusion, and proposed recommendation. When you see the research approach, it helps to conduct its data using both quantifiable variables and descriptive. Investigate the main challenges in conserving heritage building of the palace. The qualitative research approach uses descriptive variables. It is obvious. The data source is obvious that primary and secondary data source is used as a source. Method of data collection is one is the questionnaire. That the questionnaire is closed ended question. The method of delivery will be face-to-face, translating to local languages, basically for the communities. Interview is another method of data gathering. The researcher will do some in-depth interviews regarding conservation and maintenance, challenges faced, and other related issues. And other is the personal observation of data collection method will be operated entirely the study. When you see the sampling techniques, the researcher will use probability and non-probability sampling techniques. Probability sampling techniques orders or to collect the data at household level from settlement found on the town. Systematic random sampling technique will be used to collect the data from the residents of Agulae town, and the pervasive or judgmental sampling is also will use to collect from the key informants who have a knowledge of regarding this heritage site. When you see the sample size, we know currently the total population of the town is 8,198, and it has also 1,863 households. So based on this ordinary formula, and based on this
Can you briefly pass
households.
some of the things? Sorry, you have
Yes.
some 3 minutes to go, so maybe you can
Okay.
go not in too much details. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Also, the sample size is under 130. Those household sample population will select from the total household using systematic sample learning. Because the awareness community of the palace is common throughout the study town. Also, categorize the sample size of key informants from mayor up to the officials, the municipal officials, Warada Culture and Tourism offices, Bureau of Culture and Tourism offices, elders or community leaders will be participated as a key informants. Our method of data presentation is basically tables, charts, graphs, texts, maps, and figures will be commonly used for our data presentation. We have also research ethics. Finally, the output of this research is identifying the trends of international and external, internal and external maintenance of the building is following conservation ethics and originality of the building. It identifies the trends. If they try to maintain or the decays clean, is following the conservation ethics, that is keeping its originality, verifying the awareness of the community as the palace is significant asset of the town. Is the community well aware about the importance of the site is another output of the site. The result of this research will be assessed about the conservation practice and its challenges in the case of palace within the town, and proposing possible recommendations how communities and can build sense of ownership and endorsing compatible conservation and rehabilitation mechanisms so as to keep its originality will be the final output of this presentation. I think it is this is my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Kibrom, with the well detailed presentation. I will go with G Cross first. He raised his hand, but I will expect what Solomon from maybe Spaces and also Binyam from planning perspective. He might want to say something. Please continue.
Sorry. Thank you, Kibrom, for your presentation. Your presentation was good and it's full proposal. What we know or what we call a proposal. Just it's beyond the proposal. We know the proposal format starts 1.1 and in this 1.9 or 1.10 sometimes it's the final is reference. Now you are beyond the proposal. You have added the literature and chapter 2, the research methodology, chapter 3. Now the final is discussion and analysis. Chapter 4, 5 is conclusion and recommendation. So your presentation was beyond a proposal. So my question is two sensitive questions. The first, as I know, Kibrom, I was with you one course, Urban Heritage Conservation. So you are from planning. I don't know your background, but you are on the postgraduate of Masters in Urban Planning and Development. So those, I was discussing with Marhawit, but Marhawit personally, she can't move from one place to another place. And she may delay for some months, 3 months later. And our point of discussion was with Marhawit was how to integrate urban heritages. It's not only single heritage. There are a number of urban heritages in one city. So it was better, my recommendation to present, to integrate or to renovate or to revitalize a city with integrating of urban heritages. For example, if you take an Agulae, there is Charkos, Dejat Gebresilasie, Dejat or Atse Yohannes Force, and Aregawi around Uro. You can integrated urban planning or integrating urban heritage with planning. So I was expecting such titles to be fit with your graduate profile of Masters in Urban Planning and Development. But for me, in my perspective, you are out of the scope or graduate profile. And then, when you go to detail, but this is the main comments towards you. But you was discussing a single point of palace, but you have used sampling technique, something calculation, number of. It's not fair to use sampling technique for a single palace. So it's better to adjust your title, or if you go with this title, your research methodology is not good for such case study methods. So, but you have to think with you have to discuss with your advisor, Dr. Zemenfes. I think, if am I right, your advisor, Dr. Zemenfes, you have to discuss with him. Can you proceed with this title or not? If you proceed, no problem. We can see your progress on the way. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Dikros.
Okay. May I?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Okay. I actually share some ideas, Jikos. This is more of architectural thesis than urban planning. It focuses just on single building. Even looking at the outcomes of the study, there are no planners outcome here. It could be a kind of architectural or other professionals outcome. When I look at this 4 points you stated at your outputs of this study. So you need to adjust your title accordingly, the whole proposal, because this will be an input to your program too. Then I'm sure your advisor will not accept this from urban planning point of view. So my idea is it's better if you try to modify your title, focusing what urban planner can work on. This is my idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Solomon. Very good. Binyam, please continue.
Yeah, thank you, Ale, and thank you also, Kibrom, for the presentation. Just to share some ideas with what has been already said by Jikros and Solomon. And my suggestion also is to try to link it with the program that you are already taking, which is focused on urban planning and development, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe, as your title says, assessment on practice and challenge of heritage conservation. So, I mean, what's the end game towards what? Probably adding like towards integrated urban planning or sustainable urban planning, or integrating heritage conservation with urban planning practices might be a good suggestion to, you know, to make it more or less an urban planning perspective for me. Yeah, like Solomon has already said, this feels more or less a bit on the basis of architectural study as we go on. As I was, you know, reviewing your specific objectives and general objectives. So it's merely focused on the building and or the specific palace of Atse Yohannes, which is located in Agulae town, and it doesn't suggest any interlink or connection with the community or with the neighborhood or more or less with the settlement as a whole. So maybe if you can broaden the scope to make it more or less an urban planning theme, that would be interesting for our project as well, because more or less the first two presentations were a bit specific on a building purpose and architectural or in design purposes. So it will be interesting to have on an urban planning perspective, or at least in a neighborhood level or in a settlement level. So it's kind of a question and a suggestion mixed up feeling that I'm having with this one. Maybe you can reflect on it, or other colleagues can reflect on it. Thank you.
Thank you. I think, Birhane, you want to say something?
Yes, there are some things that I need to appreciate in his presentation, that he tried to be specific in the perspectives that he wanted to study the conservation practice. I don't know whether it's going to be related with urban, with architecture. It will come later, I guess. And I bet some of the questions will be specific to urban, to architecture, to structure, even to design. But I think deciding about his progress from just this presentation will be, I think, like early blockage for his research work. So I suggest to understand the Kibrom about what he wants to consider as part of conservation, the current conservation practice. I have no idea if we have in Tigray right now a conservation practice, which is a kind of guideline. I know there are international charters which are used as a guideline. If we have the same in Tigray, I think it's good to analyze that practice, that guidelines, that document is going to be analyzed with respect to this palace. So what is the problem of it? Whether he is from architecture or from urban planning program, there shouldn't be a problem, I guess, because it depends on how he prepares his questionnaire questions. And he was very good at calculating his sample size, because that's a very professional way of doing it. If someone selects just a number of questionnaire, it will not be justifiable. But he at least tried to use a method from one specific expert, and he calculated that he wants or he needs 130 questionnaires that will fulfill his output. So I think it's better if we understand the way or the perspective he wants to present here. And if he manages to come up with a good conservation practice, or with a bad, or with something, some sort of amendment, and he needs also to see it against international practices. So if he manages to do that, I think should be fine, because that's the biggest problem we have. Either we don't have the guideline document, or we don't know how to practice it. So Kibrom is going to manage to come up with something or with an idea that why we are not practicing it properly, or what we miss. So the alignment with urban or with architecture or with something else, I think it will come later in his questionnaire questions. So I didn't see any any drawback in this proposal. Rather, he could have make it shorter in the presentation. Otherwise, I'm fine with it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Birhane. So, Kibrom, do you like to say something? Basically, the things that need to be added is like you can see, because this is a team, it includes several professionals, and then and at some point we have to avoid repetition of tasks, and when someone has also very specialized expertise, it will make sense to make that one a very standing point, but go into another interdisciplinary approach from that aspects. So in this regard, also from the planning perspective, there are many ways to see, including the policies, the conservation practices you mentioned, including the traditional conservation practices. Like, for example, in the church, they have their own way of doing things. And also traditional people, they have their own way of maintaining sites. And we have the modern system, which is enforced by the government and by policies. But another important thing would also be to the interconnection of sites, different sites, so that it will give you an opportunity to see from a bigger perspective with the interconnection of these specific sites than focusing. And these are like the kind of comments, and maybe you might briefly reply or give your thought on this.
Okay, thank you. The idea is rather than questions, is more comment, but the comments are very constructive, and really I learned from all commenters. But my intention, the study seems that is a case study, or it is a specific study on Emperor Yohannes Palace. But in my intention is the problems of conserving Emperor Yohannes Palace is also the problems of other heritage sites which are found in Agulae and surrounding, or in Tigray at large. So the conservation practice, maybe as Dr. says, maybe a practical, or the practice may be making from the interested communities, or the town administrations, or the regional respected offices. But what are the trends? And I am interested in comparing the practices of conserving in our region, specifically in Emperor Yohannes Palace, with the international experiences. So based on this finding, we will propose, or we can see our stands regarding the heritage conservationists. So by its title, it seems a case study, but the finding, or the findings we have found from this study is also important for other heritage sites. This study is not planning, or it is not specifically architectural design. If plan, it needs team of experts, whether it is local development plan, town plan, or corridor plan, urban design plan. All those needs teams of experts, different disciplines. The problem of the heritage is not from the point of from the point of planning. It is the way of conserving so as to keep its originality. If it keeps its originality, it have an impact economic, political, and social advantages for the residents as well, the town administrations and the regions at large. So my intention is to know the practical conservation practices of the site and what are the challenges. Those challenges is also the challenges of other sites surrounding this Agulae town, and the practice also the practice of other sites of Agulae, sites on Agulae town, and the same is true for another sites we are found in our region.
Okay, thank you so much, Kibrom. We'll also continue discussion with Dr. Zemenfes, and then also, of course, you have a good proposal, but we have to find a way to fit it within also our research objective, and also to make it complementary with others, so that it you have seen also the other presenters before you on what they are doing in the sites. So all these sites should join like mosaics, so that they will solve different problems and they come out as good outputs for the community together. So thank you so much for the good work. So we will go to our if you remove the, we will go to our last presentation from Tsgabu Barihu. His title is on impact of Tigray war on indigenous creative industries of basketry and embroidery in Chalakot and Fu'en villages in Darta Warada in Tigray. It's Gabu. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello, Gabu, can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you, Doctor.
Okay, nice. Would you like to share and also introduce yourself, and then can continue?
Yes, thank you.
Can you try to share again?
Okay.
Okay, very good.
Is it working? Is it
Yes,
visible?
can you make it full screen?
Yeah.
It's down on the down right side.
How
The
about
one,
now?
can you make it in the presentation mode?
Mm,
You can just press the thing that looks like TV on the down right side.
okay, can I share it, please?
Or you can continue. Just
Mm,
continue as it is.
can you tell me again where can I? Is it visible to you?
On the right side, on below,
Yeah.
and the one that looks like TV. If you press there, it will be, move your cursor and
You mean here on my right?
Yes, yes, right side of the down, right. Or another option is you can go to view.
Okay, my name is Gebresilasie from Anthropology Department. I am a lecturer in Visual Arts Department in Melat University, and now I am a MA student in Social Anthropology Department program. So my research focuses on the impact of the war on indigenous creative industries, which means the handicrafts, particularly of basketry and embroidery in the selected areas that are Chalakot and Wehen villages. So as we know, conflict or war is one of the most destructive forces of heritages, and it impacts both the physical heritages and also the intangible heritages that are embodied within the physical heritages. And Tigray war devastated every aspect of our life as you know it, and one of the impacted parts are the historical heritages, and it includes the tangible and the intangible one. When the tangible heritages are destroyed, the intangible heritages like the traditions, the beliefs, the religious aspects, the values that are embedded within the tangible or physical aspects of our heritages are also destroyed with them. So this is also testified by many researchers. In some places yet. So war impact. So you know, handicrafts are highly exercised within our communities, within Tigray society, and when war impacts the artisan communities, or the people that produce handicrafts, when it impacts their lives, it impacts the heritages that are embodied within them. And Tigrayan War, or the recent, which is called Tigray War, caused a lot of destruction to heritages of the handicrafts, the architectural, and also the artistic productions of many communities in Tigray. And one of them are the pottery, basket making, embroidery. Some of them are this. And these things are practiced in many parts of Tigray, and the Quehen and the Chalokot villages are some of them. So the war caused damage to the artisans' lives, to the production and to the marketing, to the dissemination and of these artifacts to different places, and also other aspects of the business or the industries. And what makes it very hard is the damages are done within blackout and siege. So we don't know the extent, how much the destruction, what is destroyed, what is not destroyed, what is impacted, what is remained. We don't fully know that yet. So it is under researched, the impact. Especially on the intangible ones and also on the tangible ones. It's just under researches here. That's why you guys have brought this project of intervention. So this hinders the delivery of comprehensive recovery in the handicrafts. This necessitates to assess and document the damage and to recommend potential strategies of intervention to revitalize these industries that are practiced within our communities. And by doing so, we protect the indigenous heritages that are also that are embedded within this cultural products. So the general objective is to assess the impact of the war on the indigenous creative industries, particularly of basketry and embroidery, and possibly also pottery, because it's also very practiced, especially in Chalawat, that are also a community. And so to assess the impact of the war on these industries. Specific objectives include to identify the main indigenous knowledge, the skill, the materials, the techniques that are employed in producing the cultural products, to document the impact of the war on the production, on the distribution or marketing of the products in the village, and to investigate the impact of the war on the transmission of indigenous knowledge on these particular cultural practices, and also to identify potential indigenous post-war resilience strategies that can contribute or that can help the recovery plan of the industries in the village if there is any potential indigenous approach. So the methodology includes it's an ethnographic approach, and I will use in-depth interviews to find out the impact of the war on the industries, on the production, distribution, and in every aspect of the industries, and also what kind of indigenous knowledge and materials and techniques are employed, because every community uses a particular kind of technique and material, because every environment has its own indigenous materials and techniques and knowledges also. And key informant interview will also be used to collect the data which are related to the indigenous knowledge systems, and to find out the opportunities and challenges they are facing now. And this interview will be held to the leaders of the community, professional association, if there is any, and also from the governmental officials to get information from them. Focus group discussion will also be employed to know the impact of the war on the life and on the transmission of the knowledge, because the knowledge is most of the time transmitted orally from the parents to the offsprings. So to find out this, and also to find out potential indigenous resilience strategies that can help us include to the recovery program. And also non-participatory observation will also be taken as a methodology to assess the current how is the status of the practices of these indigenous cultural practices, and also this will help us to detect any potential recovery strategies through observation. Case studies will be also taken to discover how the war affects the all-rounded life of the people, social life, economic life, religious, psychologically, how it impacted them. Cases will also be taken, and also personal challenges and stories, and also specific tools and techniques and materials that are used in the producing the products. Secondary resources also will also be taken from articles, and if there are governmental reports. The expected outcomes will be documented indigenous knowledge system, which means because every environment has its own local knowledge and technique and material and skill. So the particular indigenous knowledge system of the community of those places will be documented. The impact of the war on those handicrafts of basketry, embroidery, and possibly pottery will also be documented. How much the war impacted the production, the marketing, and the overall life of the people. How it impacted them will also be documented. This will help to the overall damage assessment. A recommendation will also be given, something, particularly if there is any potential indigenous way of recovery in the industries that will be considered during the recovery program. So such recommendations will be made, and this will help in the revival of these cultural industries during the post-war recovery period, and it will help them for the sustainable development of these cultural products and industries that have kept the intangible heritage of the people for ages. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tsegab. Thank you so much for the one quick correction will be also the Roman writing in Latin. It's confusing. The site is Quyan, not Kihan. So
Okay.
this is a small village which you can see in the map at the website as well.
Yeah.
But I think Yirga, you should go first. I was thinking to pick on you before you raised your hand, and also G Cross after that.
Okay, thank you for the presentation and also for your fluent English. Thank you very much. In general, I like the presentation. So saying this, I have some comments. There may be suggestions. So you told us your project proposal, I think. So, but I didn't see who are your partners in doing your work. So what are the partners? Have you differentiated them? Who are they? So this is my first question. The second question is, in terms of marketing, I think, yeah, you became very ambitious, because before we go directly to the marketing system, we have to teach as a community, we have to just make an awareness creation, and so on and so forth. So isn't it important just to make a lot of awarenesses on the community, because it helps, this helps by itself to go to the final targets, that is marketing, all the indigenous knowledges, and so on and so forth. So I think he missed the very important idea, which is awareness creation. So can you just brief us on this regard? Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Maybe G Cross might continue, and then I can reflect on them together. And Salam also,
Thank
if you want to say
happy
something
to
on
see
this
you,
regard, because your thesis is also your proposal is similar, so you
Am I
might
listening?
reflect it. Yes, but it's a bit. Can you speak up
Okay, okay, okay. So I'm very happy to see you, Tsigaw, and also I'm happy to see such research proposals. And in general, I'm very happy with ethnographic researches. But my reservation or question or comments would be, how can you measure the impact of Tigray on artisans or those who work basketry and pottery? You know, is it the damage part only, the physical, or it includes psychological? So I didn't see on the meteorological part. How did you measure the impact of the war on those who work pottery or basketry? You can count or you can change or in monetary the physical, but I'm not clear with the research design or meteorology how to measure the impact of the war on in psychological impact. That's my question. Thank you.
Okay. Is Salam there? Is Binam, is she with you or?
Yeah, but before Salam, I had a quick question. So, quick question to Sagab. It's quite an interesting topic for me, this social anthropology aspect. So, do you have any plan in mind in whom you are planning to collaborate with in this, at least in this team that we have already in the project? So that's my question. And
can you say it again, please?
Do you have any plan in doing collaboration with other team members, specifically different disciplinary? If you have, the question would be how, because it's a bit different for me, different aspect, but an interesting one at the same time. I think Salam would like some time to give a feedback or reflection.
Yeah,
so she will.
Okay. Let's go. Let's go back to Sagab and reflect on the things that's raised.
Okay, I think the first question is, who are your partners? And I think you are my partners, and I don't have any partner yet. And I'm yet to think about how you guys can help me, because we didn't know each other yet. I'm just meeting you for the first time in this scholarly endeavor. So I will just find out, and you can tell me on how we can we can collaborate in realizing this. And because I don't know what you're doing, guys, and we haven't got any opportunity to meet before, and I haven't just I'm ready to collaborate, because you mean I believe you add a lot to the research, and I'm yet to discover. And if you have anything in mind, you can share me now. The awareness creation, I have just found it interesting, not only the marketing, not only on the material part, and also on the psychological aspect also. That's also interesting. And yeah, that's also interesting thing. Do you have any plan for collaboration? Yes, I do, but I don't know how. And because I don't know the profile of the scholars that I am working with, or that I'm gonna work with. So I'll just find out, and you can inform me anything. And
Yes, I think by
consider it.
partners, it might mean who will be your partners on site when you do research.
Okay, on site. On site, the community, the working community, because most of the time the handicraft makers or the artisans are neglected by the community to some extent, especially in Tigray, especially if they are iron workers, or the welders are alienated and they live in a community of their own. But the potters, the embroidery workers, and the basket makers, they are not so much alienated. So, but they live as a community, and they are I will work with them, and if there is any professional association, I will also work with them, and also the government officials that are whose works are related with collaborating such kind of cultural issues or realms.
Yeah, okay. So the thing is, Haptam is not here, but since, as you have seen from previous presentations, there are several team members here, and they belong to the different disciplines. And the objective of this project is to address the issues on the sites from different perspectives. So we have architects, structural engineers, anthropologists, historians, museologists, urban planners, and we also have collaborators, filmmakers, artists, and so the thing we're trying to do is to bring this all professionals into one platform, and then create a network of collaboration to tackle these cross-disciplinary issues. So that's why the question was raised: how do you see yourself to collaborating with other professionals? Like what kind of professionals will you collaborate, and in what term will be important? So I didn't have your email, so I know I sent you the details this morning, but I will send you the website so you can see, go through it in details, and see also the team members who are there, and then what kind of collaborations which can be built. Is Salam here, or Binam?
Okay. Hello.
Because
I think
Salam will be, yes, it will be important because Salam is also a student collaborator, and she is doing a research within the framework of this project, but she will be going to Japan to do her master's, because her research is somehow, in a way, not exactly, but related to yours. So her reflection will be an important for your proposal.
okay. Thank you, Tigab. It is good to hear that your proposal is especially on this basketry and embroidery, specifically on this Chalaqat, because since my study is on Chalaqat, and my study is on transforming the details of the church into different potteries and what you call it, this jewelries. So since it is transforming with using this 3D documentation technologies, I think it is good to collaborate with you and to exchange some data. Maybe since I'm going to Japan and you are here, I think we are going to collaborate. And that is good to hear that your study area is around a lot. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you, Sagab, and thank you today's presenters. And
Can I say something, Doctor?
yes, sure.
Salam, nice to meet you, and I'm happy that I have met you now, and we can work together. And also, as you said, Doctor, I have sent my email to Binyam, and I can work with the other crew members also, like the historians, the museologists, the filmmakers, the artists. They are very relatively closer to the point that I'm dealing with. So, yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sagab. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for today's presentations, and we will discuss, and then we will come back to you with our evaluation and also our recommendations if we have to demand something that the research to fit with our framework or other things. So we'll write you with the email, the heritage.scapes@mu.edu.et. So keep that email in contact so it will not go into spam. So thank you so much for today.